Okay, just doing a quick video here on the installation or the assembly of the Klearvue Stroma cabinets. We've got them at Menards. The instructions are horrible, so I thought since I've done a few, I might do something online for everybody else to look at. So we did on this cabinet here, it's the 3 drawers. It's got a large drawer at the bottom, medium drawer in the middle, and a small drawer at the top. For the purposes of this video, the way they label these, the bottom drawer they call a high drawer, the middle drawer they call a medium drawer, and the top drawer is just called a low drawer. So when you see that on your boxes, that's what that means. That makes it a little easier because I wasn't sure which ones were which at first, but I thought maybe high meant the top, but it actually just means high in the height of the drawer. So I'm gonna get going here in just a second. Okay, the first thing you're gonna wanna do to get started, we had the guy at Menards gave us a little advice, and it was really good advice, so I wanted to pass it on. Basically, when you get your cabinets in your house, they're gonna be in a lot of boxes. The base cabinets come in a big box assembled like you see them here, but there's no doors or drawers or slides in them. So for each cabinet you've ordered, you're gonna have a list here with a SKU of each piece that goes with the cabinet. Basically what you wanna do is go out and gather all that stuff into one spot for each cabinet and keep it together. That makes this a lot better. And all you'll have to do is just go out and look. The cabinet base here, the SKU on it, you can see is a 4780060. And then the drawer kits that come with it are these SKUs here. On the box itself, obviously the SKUs are listed, and that's the best way to grab them. So once you get those all together and in one spot, then you can kind of start assembling. Okay, so first off, we are in the middle of a remodel, so there's a lot of junk everywhere. Apologize. I got my kit here. This is the premium high drawer kit, and it actually says that on the box. It's the high drawer kit, and I have my high drawer front for my drawer. It does not say on the actual packaging that it's for the high drawer, but if you look, it's the 14 7/8 inch high front. So first thing I'm going to do is get my hardware out. Instructions, you won't need them. And then I'm going to remove the drawer pulls, and they're in these boxes here on the ends. And the easiest way to do that is just take your knife and just cut the tape on the end of it. And you can see sometimes they're labeled left and right, sometimes they're not on the outside of the box, so I don't know why some are and some aren't. So I'm going to take my left and put it somewhere on the left so I remember. And same on the other side, I'm going to take the right side out. I'm going to put it on the right side so I remember. And then these are your drawer supports for the front drawer panel. I'm just going to take my knife and take the tape off and set those to the side also. And now your main drawer base is in here. You're going to take it out, put it on a flat surface somewhere, and you're going to leave this side facing you. It has the plastic clips. It's pretty noticeable. The other side just has a void. So you're going to have this side facing it first. And then your very bottom, or the back of the drawer, is at the very last of the box here. It's just got one piece of tape holding it in. I'm going to remove it. Take it out of the packaging here. And I'm going to set it here for a moment. I'm going to get some of this trash in my way, so I'm going to pause the video for a second. Okay, now that I have my workspace kind of cleared out, first thing you want to do, instructions don't tell you to do this first, but you might as well because it's the easiest step. You're just going to take this panel and snap it on the back of this plastic piece. You're going to have your hollow part of your bracket facing out. So your finished side, your nice looking side, is going to be to the inside of the cabinet. And you're just going to come over here. And as you can see, there's a little notch where this fits in. It's pretty noticeable. You just stick one side in, the other side in, and you snap it into place. Sometimes you have to, the bottom of the drawer here, sometimes these panels are bowed. You may have to push out on it from the inside to get it to sit down. Like so. Just check on the bottom to make sure it's flush, and it is. And then this next step I'm going to have you do, get in your hardware kit. And you can go ahead and take this stuff out if you want to and lay it to the side. You'll have, so here you have a bag of screws. These are called, I think, European screws. You have a bracket for the bottom of your cabinet. You'll have 2 brackets that hold the front of the face to the actual drawer. You'll have a couple of Klearvue plates that cover up the adjustment screws on the side of the drawer itself. And you'll have 4 little plastic cylinders that hold on your drawer supports. So in this kit here, you'll have, there'll be 1 screw that's longer than the rest. And that's the one we want for the back of the cabinet. I'm not going to take them all out at the moment since I'm going to try to keep them together. Just looks like this. It's the biggest one in there, can't miss it. Then there's a pilot hole already drilled on the back of the cabinet, right here. And you're just going to run that in. Make sure the bottom of your drawer is flush with the back of the drawer. A couple of them have been sagging a little bit, so I've had to hold up on it. This one's pretty good, so I'm just going to run the screw in. Like so. And that step is done. Okay. So next step, I'm going to open up our drawer front, and it says not to use a blade to open this box, but I do what I want, so I'm going to do it anyway. Just be careful. It is face down in the box, so you shouldn't scratch the front. And it's going to look like so. Just kind of leave it in the packaging while you're working on it here, so you can keep the front from getting scuffed up. You might also, before you do too much work, inspect the front. We had one that had a nick in it that we're going to be returning. This one looks pretty good. So first thing you'll notice on the back of the panel, and this is the high panel again, you're going to have 2 holes that are close together, and you're going to have 2 holes that are far apart. So the 2 holes that are close together are going to hold the actual brackets. And you're going to use your European screws to hold these on. I'll show you in a second. And the other 2 holes, these 2 are going to be used for your plastic cylinder supports. So when you get started here, you're going to put your bracket with the leg itself facing the bottom of the drawer. And I'll put those in here in a second. Here are the screws that you use to attach it that come in the package. They're kind of the odd screws. They don't really have a head on them. They're just a Phillips head screw. Everything here is Phillips head attached. That makes it pretty simple. I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple screws in here real quick. Okay, now these plastic screws, or plastic cylinders, they have a opening on one side. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, it's kind of dark in here, so you can kind of see there's an opening on one side. That just needs to be relatively up. It doesn't need to be perfect, just kind of in the upwards position. Have your opening to the top of the drawer. Not real important, it just makes it a little easier to put it together later. And the screw just goes down in the middle of it. And I'm just gonna twist it where it's up before I tighten it down the rest of the way. And that's pretty good. And then I'm gonna do the other one here real quick. And then you will repeat this same step on the opposite side. You'll notice I'm using a regular drill. I was using my impact earlier, my small 12-volt impact. I was just a little worried. This isn't actual hardwood or anything, so I was worried I'd strip out the screws, so thought I'd have a little more control with the drill. And I'm gonna go and do the other side, and then we'll pick up in a second. All right, now that you have your both sets of hardware installed, we're gonna attach this to the cap or the drawer itself. So you're just gonna take that same drawer, flip it around to where the hollow side is towards you. Leave the edge of it hanging over your countertop or your workbench, wherever you're doing it at. You're just gonna take the actual front of the drawer. This is the bottom. You're gonna flip it around, and I'll show you where you're gonna be attaching. You can kind of look in here. There's a aluminum channel, and this is just gonna slide right into that. That bottom metal piece will slide into that on both sides, and you'll hear it click in. You should. Get it lined up here. There we go. You may have to pull your sides of your drawer together to get it to go together. Okay, so next, now that we have that done, we're going to install our supports that hold the front of the drawer front from being pulled away from the actual cabinet. And since this is the high back, or the high front, I'm sorry, you're gonna have 4 of these brackets. Now you might wanna check them also. We had one of these that was broken in our first kit. You'll see the actual brackets here. The ones that have the little triangle sticking out the top of them, those are your bottoms. So you put those to the side. This is a bottom also. And the ones that just have the little wedge on the side, those are the top. So this is gonna clip in. They have an R and an L on them, so you know right and left. So it's as you look at the cabinet, so the right side as I'm looking at the cabinet. You're also gonna have, I'll show you this also, in the ends of these, there's an adjustment. You can take this actual piece that clips into those plastic cylinders, and you can unscrew it to make it push the cabinet door further out or further in. That way, once you get it on, you may need to adjust it. We had to, so it comes in handy. So you're gonna take this wedge piece here, the clasp, and you mind coming a little closer? I'll show you a little closer. There's a lip right here on top of the bracket that goes right between this wedge. So you'll see it clips on like so. And it's kind of tricky the first time. There you go, you get it and clip it in. And on this side, you can see sits right down inside of the cylinder. And there's a little notch for the tip of this plastic plug, and just let it drop down inside there. And you're just gonna slide your plastic piece back over. You take it back off. You can slide that back loose if you need to later to adjust the front, which you probably will have to. And then you'll also take your bottom piece now, and you will clip it in. And they are also labeled L and R for left and right. This is my left side. And it clips together much simpler. So you'll take your triangle, your wedge piece here, and there's a hole in the side of the bracket. You're just gonna take that, and you're gonna push it in, like so. Then you're gonna drop your end into the plastic, and this one's a little short, so I'm gonna unscrew it just a little bit, like so, and cover it back up, and you're gonna repeat this step on the other side. Okay, now that you've completed those steps, the last thing to do is to put the connector piece in the bottom of the drawer front. So all you're gonna do to do that is just take your cabinet and you can stand it up. I'm gonna flip mine upside down since it's a little easier. Try to be gentle with them so you don't ding them up. And then this is the last piece of the hardware kit, and you'll see there's 3 small screws, and there's a few of these rubber, kind of like silicone dots you put on your actual, your base cabinet itself so when the drawer shuts, it's not loud. I'll put those to the side. This just attaches in the middle. The instructions say to use a punch or an awl to kind of start your hole. I haven't needed to do that. These screws are really sharp on the end, and they've worked fine without doing that. And so you're just gonna eyeball it in the center. Doesn't need to be perfect. You'll see there's 3 spots for screws. You're just gonna take your first screw, like so. Second screw next to it. And then your third screw goes into the actual face of the front of the drawer. So you'll see there's a spot for it also. You'll probably have to run it at a little bit of an angle if you're using a drill, like so. And then that is the final step for completing the drawer construction. Now I'll show you how to put the slides in real quick, and then after that it's pretty much done. Okay, we're gonna install the drawer slides. This one is labeled. If they don't label on the box, if you look on the actual inside of the slide, it'll have, like this one says 550L for left. Again, that is as you look at the cabinet. You will also be putting it in this way, so when it's in its fully retracted position, this will be your front, this will be your back. Now what you'll do is you'll take out your drawer configuration guide, and it should come with your cabinets or with your drawer kit, and you'll look at your drawer configuration. We are doing its configuration number 4, which is the high, medium, and the low drawer. And you'll look here on the actual instructions. It'll show you, or on the diagram, it'll show you which holes you're going to want to use for the actual slides. If you'll see on this one, it's saying we're going to be hole 23, which is the last hole. So this will basically be sitting on the bottom of the actual cabinet. And it's saying we're going to put the larger number is 22. You're going to be putting your screws in hole 22, which is the top hole on the actual brackets. So I'll do that now. And as you can see here, our cabinets are connected with the actual Klearvue cabinet connectors. Before I started putting the cabinets together, we looked through our actual drawer configuration to see which holes the drawers we're going to use, and made sure not to put any of our connectors in those holes. It tells you that in the instructions also, so just make sure you do that, because it says in the instructions to most of the time use holes number 4 and 4 from the bottom. That would cause us problems in this case, so you can see I've used different holes there. So just make sure you kind of look ahead as you're going, if you're doing your base cabinets, to make sure you don't get into trouble. So since this one's basically set on the bottom, I'm just going to set it here like so. You can see the holes line up pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a screw in the front hole here. And then you'll have to slide the actual slide to the front to get your other 2 screws in. And they recommend 2 screws in the front bracket, and you can see the holes line up, so we're going to hit that one too. And then 1 screw in the back bracket, and it lines up on a pre-drilled hole also. Okay, and we are going to repeat this on the other side. Okay, now that we have our brackets, our drawer slides both on, we're going to extend them all the way out, and then make sure you clean your hands really well afterwards. They're pretty oily, so we have the white cabinet, so fingerprints obviously would show up pretty bad. So you're just going to take your cabinet. Try not to hold it by the actual supports for the front. Try to hold it from the bottom or the back. And you're basically just going to set it on top of your slides. And then you're going to push it. You notice it's not connected yet, it's just setting. You're going to push the drawer all the way back in like you're shutting it normally. And you'll hear it click. And then your drawer is now seated on your slides. And you might just go ahead and double check, make sure your soft close is working. Looks like it's working great. And then one last thing, once this is in, you'll start putting your other cabinets in, obviously, or your other drawers. The best way to do it is start from top and go to the bottom. I didn't do that on this one because I wanted to show you this drawer. It's a little more complicated than the rest of them. But there are adjustments in here on the side. And if you can see this, the big white, there's a big white screw here. It's a plastic screw, Phillips head screw. It adjusts the cabinet front from side to side, so left to right. And then there's another one on the back. It's a metal screw, Phillips head screw, and it adjusts the cabinet up and down on each side. So if you got one side higher than the other, you'll adjust that screw. This screw here, obviously, it'll shift your drawers over. Just keep in mind you'll have to adjust both sides on the white screws to move it one way or the other, because it's only going to pull one side at a time. So once you're done with that, you can move on to the upper drawers. I will say, on the very top drawer, if you do a low drawer like we did here, there are no supports on it, you can see, and you will only use 2 screws on your actual slide supports or slide mounts. You can't get to the 3rd screw, just the way it was designed. They give you enough, but you can't use them all. So if you have that happen to you, I think that's normal. So that's all we got for you. We don't have any upper cabinets, so we just did all lowers. So it's pretty simple, not too bad. First drawer takes a while to do. After that, they go pretty quick. So it is a lot of assembly. It can seem a little ominous when you open the box. Just keep in mind that it goes pretty quick after you get going. And they do look pretty nice too, so I'm just gonna be happy with them.